Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Chart Nerd TA video. So this morning I'm going to be diving back into Algorand. I used to do regular updates on this project a few moons ago now. I would say about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I haven't released much content since that period. So again, Happy New Year. I was about to say Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully this year is going to be a good one for all of us, and we can make some money in this space, and I can bring you some regular content. So let's dive into this. So looking at Algorand here on the weekly time frame, as I've said up here, not as I've said, I haven't said anything yet, but this is the all-time high of 2021, and this is where the bear market sort of started, and you've been in this large downtrend ever since for ALGO. Now I think where I left off before, I was watching this pattern here. You can see you had these sort of ascending highs for ALGO, and you had this level of support that Algorand was holding, and you was coiling up literally between a level of resistance and a level of support in this pattern. Now this, to me, what it looked like was an ascending broadening wedge. Okay, so potentially what it was, you're in this massive downtrend, this massive bear market. At this stage here, you put in this low which was around 28 cents, and you decided to hover around for a little while, and get some sort of relief and cool off in the markets for a bit. But all this has done has just proved to us that these sort of relief rallies, they don't tend to last very long in the markets, and when they do, the more drawn out they are, the further of a push down you get when you lose support. So for example, you can see that you've had little rallies here in the market. So when you came down here to 68 cents, you had a rally of around 44% back up to 98 cents. Okay, so you went up 50% in price near enough. Again, when you came down to these lows down here at 28 cents, you rallied up to 45 and had a 61% relief rally, but these aren't confirming the bear market lows, guys. So there's certain signals and certain things that we need to look out for here, or watch for that sort of confirmation. And what I think think's happened from this drawdown, from this loss of level of support where we was holding 27 cents, 28 cents, we had what's called an ascending broadening wedge, okay, where you was having these higher lows and higher highs basically being put in over amount of time. And when you lost support of this ascending support line, okay, this looks very, very similar here. If you get this bang on in the order, you can see it does look like some sort of ascending broadening wedge where you've got these higher highs, you are putting in gradual higher lows, and once you lost that support, you basically capitulated. And I did have targets on for Algorand in my previous videos, so we get a fib on, okay, and we're going to go from this 45 cent high, retracing back down to these lows here. Now at the time, I didn't have the 2 fib on my Fibonacci chart, so I wasn't expecting this correction or this drawdown to be this steep and this quick, okay, but anything can happen in crypto, and this happened within the space of a couple of months for Algorand. And I was looking at, I said, if you lost this 27 cents and you lost this area of support here for ALGO, then you was looking to retrace minimum to the 1272 with a push towards 20 to 19 cents. Now you can see that came into fruition, but you also had a final leg down, and you actually met the 2 to a T. You did wick below it fairly, but you can see the close bang on landed on the 2 fib at 16 cents. And since this low down here, I do believe Algorand's up currently around 15%, which is great. But at the same time, guys, what I wanted to say is be cautious. This still potentially could be a relief rally back up to previous support, looking to turn it to resistance. So where would our resistance areas be from this point here on the weekly time frame, saying zoomed out? Bear in mind that we have had this, as I said, I think this is about a 60% correction, maybe a little bit less, within the space of 2 months. So it wouldn't surprise me, from being so far overextended, that we would get some sort of relief, very similar to how you started to pick up here in this wave, where you started to get higher highs and price action. Okay, everyone got very bullish, but again, just like it happened here, where you came down and you came back up again, you got shafted back down. So the same thing's happened. You've come up and you've been shafted back down. So they're just relief rallies at the moment until we get some sort of confirmation or some sort of structural bottom or accumulation zone. Hopefully this is what 2023 is going to be for us. I don't think it's going to be a very, very explosive year. In my opinion, I think we may see some sort of surge in the markets, okay, and some sort of pickup. Sentiment is extremely low right now for all crypto, but whether it's sustainable or not throughout this year, I'm not too sure. So what I'm looking for here, primarily, I'm going to get some EMAs on. So you've got the 55 and you've got the 20, but because we're so far extended from these, okay, and this is a very bullish a very bullish thing actually to say. When you've got these massive gaps between these EMAs here, especially on the weekly time frame, and you are overextended in price, what tends to happen is you get dragged back to these EMAs, okay, and you come up and retest previous support and look to turn it to resistance. So you can see that the 050 here sits at 27 cents. So this is a primary area that I'm looking for Algorand to kind of, not saying overnight, but start to work its way towards over time and potentially make a decision whether you come back and retest this low or whether you come to put in a higher low and break out, and this right here could potentially be the low for Algorand. So what I'm looking for is some sort of retracement, but beyond this 20 and 55, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the 10 EMA on quickly. So if we just clear this out, because I also feel that the 10 is very, very important to look at, especially on the larger time frames. Right, yeah, so you can see that I think the first point of resistance that we may actually meet, and if Algorand does sustain a bit more upside here and has a few weeks of good bullish momentum, I would expect us to be meeting this 10 EMA here, wherever it may be in the time, but potentially you could be coming up to this EMA where you're gradually working your way up to it, and then it comes back for another higher low. If it holds and sustains a higher low than the 16-cent area, the high 15s, then the probability of you breaking out and closing above the 10, getting to the 20, is where you could have this opportunity where the 10 starts to curl up, you come up in price, okay, and this is where you attack that 27 cents at the 050 and previous support, looking to turn it to resistance. So that for me would be the confirmational sort of area where we could see downside. You come up to this area here eventually over time, potentially get rejected, come back to the 15 cent area, this local low. If that doesn't hold, again, we'll have downside targets after I think this relief rally plays out, and you do get rejected by these EMAs potentially, and continue more downside. But again, you know, we are very overextended in price right now. We're extended from all kinds of EMAs, the 10 EMA, the 20 EMA, the 55 EMAs up here somewhere. The price action's in the floor. I am expecting some sort of relief, some sort of continuation over the next couple of weeks where Algorand may start to pick up a good few percentage points here, really and truly. Okay, but lastly, what I wanted to point out, okay, I don't think this will last forever. Algorand is very fundamentally strong. The price action isn't reflecting that right now. And again, when I've said many times before, if you look at these EMAs, okay, when you get this bullish cross where the 20, the yellow line, crosses this red line, this is your confirmation that you are in some sort of insane bull run and you're holding these EMAs as support. You can see, look, you come back to this red 55, but you held it and you had that large impulsive wave. Now the same works when it's opposite. Okay, so here you had the 20 cross over the red. Yeah, so here you had the 20 cross over the red, which is a bullish bull cross. Here you had the 20 cross over a red, and this is called a death cross. Now what this confirmed is you're under the EMAs. When you're under the EMAs, you are in a downtrend. Okay, so what could happen here is these EMAs could come together and you either get rejected, but because they're so far apart and there's such massive gaps, just like when there's big gaps to the upside and the price is extended, you get dragged back down again. Okay, so just like you are to the downside and the EMAs and the gaps are so extended, you get dragged back up again. They work invertedly. Okay, so the further on when you're working up in price, the further you are away from these EMAs in price, the more likely you are to be dragged back down. And then on a downtrend, the further you are away from the EMAs, you're more likely to be dragged back up. So this is why I'm expecting some sort of short-term relief here, potentially of Algorand running back up towards 27 cents. I'm not saying it's within, as I've said, the next week or two. It may be a couple of weeks, a few weeks to a month, where you build up, and potentially this will be some sort of accumulation zone over the next year. It could really be that sort of time for Algorand where it's found its low right now and it wants to hold support. Again, you're very close to these support levels back in September 2019 and March 2020 with the pandemic. So you are approaching areas of support that you would look likely to hold and accumulate, which would be an amazing time to accumulate. You can see if you got involved back here and you accumulated around these areas here where you was very overextended to the downside in price, you know, what came next was absolutely impulsive. So why would you not be smart enough to get involved at these prices right here, accumulate over time? It may take a year or two, and then eventually witness what Algorand has in store for its next bull run. Very, very messy. But yeah, that's a quick update for you today on Algorand. I hope you enjoyed the content. Basically, I'm looking for a short-term relief rally here, back up to the EMAs. You've got this massive gap, this massive drawdown, and I do think Algorand will potentially recover fully, if not even more so, leading to the next bull. And what we need to do, guys, is stay strong. We made it through 2022. Let's make it through 2023 and push on even further. So take care, guys. Until next time, from Chart Nerd TA, take care. Peace out.